And I'm fascinated with the new release that you have out. You just released the new album, The Lost Songs, 1978 through 1981. And I actually had some of these songs, being a big fan. I had a German silver disc release of Back in the Streets. That had some of this material on it, but very, very pleasantly surprised to see some songs that I had not heard before on here. Can you tell me a little bit about the songs, how you chose the material for this album?
Well, I was always pissed that album came out because that was a bootleg.
Yeah, sure.
I was still in the recording studio from a demo I did in Germany. It always pissed me off. The guy made a fortune and I never got paid. So I just let it go, and then I said, I own those songs, and I wrote them. I just put them out myself. And I said, but there's not really enough songs for a record. So I had a house in L.A., and I have a house in New Mexico. I was moving some stuff back and forth about 7 months ago. Mm-hmm. And I stumbled across this, a plastic tub. And it was like all these tapes that had been in stores for 25 years.
Wow, so this is a recent discovery then.
I didn't know. I had no clue. I didn't know how to change. They weren't marked. So I had to find a studio, actually, because everybody works Pro Tools now. These were deals. So I went to the studio and started putting shit up, and I was like, holy crap, there's all this material, And it was kind of like a trip down time, because I go, I remember this song. We never finished it. I remember this song. It was supposed to be on Breaking the Chain. Didn't make it. And, I remember this song. This was some of my early demos, and it was kind of like that. So I don't know. I just started goofing around with them, and the rest is I talked to the record company. I said, I've got all these songs that were never released. And I'd had some conversations about other bands that I know have songs they wrote in the early days, but they won't release them. They want us to keep them private,
Sure.
And, we were just having a conversation about a lot of people don't realize the process that you don't just go and write 11 songs and record 11 songs and put them out. You write 15 or 16 songs and you pick your favorites, then you put them out,
Sure.
So that's what I did. Series were afterwards.
Yeah, it's fascinating to hear the early stages of this. Obviously, there's some stuff out on YouTube as well, like Red Book and some early stuff that you did.
Right.
And I guess maybe you don't have good masters of some of that, or you just chose not to maybe put it on this release. But
I listened to some of the stuff I knew some of that stuff was floating around the internet, but it sounded like shit,
Yeah.
Copy of a copy of a copy of a cassette copy. So I knew that stuff was floating around, some of it, but it just sounded so terrible, So I thought, well, if I can go in the studio, modern technology, clean it up, take all the pops and blinks and blanks out of it, and, clean it up. And there were 3 songs that weren't ever on YouTube or the internet because I never finished them.
Mm-hmm.
So I had DJ put new drums on them, and I had John put a solo on them, and that was that.
That was going to be my next question, actually. I saw you have BJ and John, playing on this album, so I was curious. Which songs did they perform on?
Step Into the Light,
mm-hmm.
No Answer. I think that's it.
Yeah, Step Into the Light is fantastic. I really, was really impressed with that as the first single off of this.
Yeah, we got lucky on that. Because I actually did have a multi-track,
Mm-hmm.
I had the vocals, I had a drum machine, got rid of that, had DJ place the drums, had the guitar track separated on 16 tracks, so I had John replace the guitars, put a solo on it, I kept my vocals, the harmonies, and the bass, and so that was, I got lucky, because some of these things are multi-tracks, but some of the songs were just 2-track. So there's not much I can say about the writing.
Sure. The quality on most of the material is great. I mean, the sound quality is pretty good on most of this. I mean,
not bad. I spent a lot of time on it. I mean, I couldn't put out. That was my dilemma. You know, I said, well, I got one song. I found a copy of it. It sounds like crap. You know, I scoured the internet. I couldn't find anybody that had a better copy. I was hit and run. I couldn't find a copy of it, and all these weird accidents happened. Like, for instance, my original 45 single I did back in 1977 or 8 when I was in my early 20s. Mm-hmm. I'm doing an interview with a guy in Sweden, and for Swedish Rock Magazine, and I'm talking about, you know, doing this record. He goes, yeah, I have a copy of that, your original single you did, and you brought it to Germany and sold. I said, what? He goes, yeah, when you came to Germany in 79, you brought a bunch of the 45 singles and you were selling them. I said, yeah, but those are lost to history. I mean, I only brought 300 of them, 400 of them over there. They're all gone. They were in Germany. They're long gone, man. He goes, well, actually, I have one. He goes, I'll never forget it. My friend went to your concert in Berlin, and he bought 2 of those 45s, and he gave one to me.
Wow.
And I said, holy shit, can you find it? And he goes, well, I'll look. So he looked, and he said, yeah, I found it. And I said, dude, it'd be a godsend if you could, you know, send me a CD of it, you know. Bought a CD. And he said, well, I got the same problem. I don't have a record player that'll play 25s.
Yeah, sure. It's amazing how much technology has changed, you know, in several phases, actually, since then.
Yeah. So he did. He went to a record store, like a Finnish record store, where they sell records, and they had a little 45 turntable. So they hooked it up for him, transferred the CD. He sent me a wave of it. I mastered it, and that's it. So I got Hard Rock Woman Runner.
Well, it's great to hear this. Tell me a little bit about the history of this, because, you know, it was a little bit different in the early days, I'm sure, before you guys really hit it big when the Sunset Strip scene all blew up. So,
what do you want to hear? About the Sunset Strip days?
No. Prior to that, tell me how it was getting to that point, because you guys were kind of, you know, the stuff that's on this album. I mean, it was quality stuff, good albums, but obviously you guys were scraping a little bit at this point.
Oh yeah. Well,
you know,
the biggest luck was that, you know, the Sunset Strip was happening in '77. That's when Van Halen put the record.
Sure. Yeah.
And I was already playing the Strip by then. And I was doing okay. We were doing all right. You know, we were making a little bit of money. But the biggest problem is, as you said, we couldn't pay our rent. We were all living, you know, in our cars or with girlfriends or anybody. Couch hopping, as I call it.
Yeah.
We got lucky, went to Germany. And I met somebody who owned the biggest club in Hamburg, and he was over in L.A., and we were playing whiskey. And he came and saw us play because he was trying to check out clubs, get some ideas. And he just said, and by then, well, there's all these documentaries about the rock and roll scene, you know, and the 80s and 70s. But nobody talks about the rock and roll scene kind of didn't take off. You know, I was in it. I was playing with Van Halen and all those other bands. But it didn't really take off. The new wave thing kind of crept in.
Yeah.
Nash, My Sharona, the Black Flag, the punk bands, X, Devo, those bands started playing the Strip. They came out of New York, other places, in L.A. So it wasn't like everybody talks about this glorious rock days. There was for a moment, but that actually came, you know, the rock scene, as I remember it, came after we got a record deal. We did our first U.S. tour in 1981, which is called. So, anyway, this guy said, hey, I'm a musician, I got a band, I got equipment. If you buy your own plane tickets, came to Germany, I could book you like 10 shows in Germany. So I figured we had nothing to lose.
Nice.
So we left, and that's why I went to Germany. And that's when I met Michael Wagner. And Michael Wagner worked in a studio across the studio, and we'd go sneak in there at night on downtime, and we'd record it. And that was how made all those demos over a couple of weeks, a whole bunch of stuff, some finished, some not. But the owner of that studio took my tapes and wouldn't give them to me.
Oh, geez.
And they put out a record, Back in the Streets, which is all wrong pictures and lineups. And, the guy fucked me, basically.
Sure. Wow.
And then I said, well, you do sue him, in Germany. And I talked to my manager about that way back then, and he said, Don, this thing's probably going to sell 1,000 copies. I never knew it would sell $1 million worth. The guy got rich off me.
Wow.
So fuck him.
Well, you did all right for yourself, regardless of running into issues. And your relationship with Michael Wagner certainly was, I'm sure, helpful, and you guys made a good team.
Because he was just
with his production.
And the fact that I talked him to come to America, and that's when he really took off,
Oh yeah, he was a hot commodity, especially in the '80s. Everybody wanted him to produce their stuff because it sounded so great.
He was the guy, and I told Michael the same thing. The guy that took me to Germany, I told Michael the same thing. You need to come to America. Mm-hmm. I came to America, and he slept on my couch for about 6 months. And we worked in the studio, and then our first project we ever did together, me and Michael, was The Great Light Album, Out of the Night.
So it was actually a little bit of a global economy going on in the rock and roll business even back then for you guys.
Yeah.
Back and forth through Europe.
Then the rest is all history. We got our record deal, went back to Germany, did that TV show The Beat, and the European tour, and it's all history. I see there's an album. I just found out there's a book out, the autobiography on Dokken. It's unofficial. What do you call it? Unauthorized.
Sure.
I'll have to buy it, see what the fuck's going on in it.
See if you believe what's actually in it, right? I always wondered about that. When you're the star and an unauthorized autobiography comes out, I just wonder if you look through it and, go, no, that's bullshit. That didn't happen.
Right. I mean, I was there, and they twist everything or juice it up and try to make it more juicy, and, and I'm like, that didn't happen. It's kind of like...
The time, I was going to say the timing of this album is great because obviously touring is at a standstill at the moment with the COVID-19 situation. So I know that probably kind of cuts into what you normally would be doing. You do quite a bit of live shows on a regular basis. So, but I do see you have some. I see you have some books into the fall, I believe, for this year, or is that still questionable?
Yeah, 2 shows booked for next month.
Nice. Okay. And George is going to join you on a couple of shows, right?
Correct. Yes.
That's awesome. I'm glad to see you guys playing together.
Yeah, Rep Beach is going to step in and do some shows with us. George is going to do the encores. This COVID thing, I get it. I mean, it doesn't really affect me up here in New Mexico because we've had like a whopping 10,000 cases in the whole state. So
you're one of the better off people. Yeah. I'm in Florida and it's bad here.
Yeah, Florida got hit pretty bad. And plus where I live, my manor house is so far from the mountains removed. I mean, my driveway's a mile long. I'm in the middle of nowhere. Literally in the middle of nowhere. So. But
it does seem to affect, the promoters and stuff even, I think are a little bit concerned about, actually scheduling these shows from what I'm hearing. But I'm glad to see you guys have some upcoming shows coming. I mean, are they going to be socially distanced, or do you know anything about that? Is it just going to be a regular show?
I don't know how they can.
Yeah. I don't see how you keep people 6 feet apart at a rock concert. It just doesn't even seem like it would happen, or could happen.
I think what blew that out of the water is with all the demonstrations about the George Floyd thing,
Yeah. Everybody,
people marching on and on with no masks on.
Exactly.
So
yeah, that was one of my first comments.
I don't know why these concerts are going on. I really don't. I don't know what the governor of Arkansas is doing or Virginia. It's their call. They're doing at 50% capacity.
I see.
So they'll be like, and then they changed it now to like 30% capacity.
Oh, really? Okay.
We'll probably only have a couple thousand people.
Well, it'd probably feel good just to play live. I mean, how long has it been now since you did your last live set?
7 months.
Wow. Yeah, that's a little while.
Well, people want to go out and make a living. They have bills to pay. You love this music. I'm pretty sure everybody's getting pretty stir crazy.
Oh, yeah, yeah. You know, and I'm one of them, too. I mean, I'm a regular concert goer, obviously, and it, you know, it's different. It's just strange to just stay home for the most part. And,
well, that's,
you know,
allowed me the luxury of doing this lost tapes record.
Yeah. Yeah, like I said, the timing's great, you know, because you can put this out now. You found this stuff at just the right time.
Yep.
You know, I know you got a time frame on it, Lost Songs 78 through 81, which is what these, you know, these lost recordings are. Is there other material that you've never released after this point through the 80s that you still have sitting around somewhere that's never made it onto an album?
Not that I know of.
None at all. Wow. Amazing. For the amount of albums you guys have done, I'm amazed there's not extra tracks. I mean, I know there was extra tracks on the Japanese CDs and things of that nature, which I have.
Well, yeah, I had those, but honestly, most of the songs we did, you know, leftovers. We ended up taking pieces of them and lyrics out of them and chopping them up and turning them into other songs. So there's nothing really out there that we could use.
You know, I've always considered you to be a really great songwriter, and I wonder where do you get your main inspiration when you're writing lyrics?
I wouldn't say there is a main inspiration. I have written so many songs by somebody just making a comment, and I go, "What do you say?" And you know, and all of a sudden I'm on it. You know, like "The Kiss of Death." That song was about AIDS.
Yeah.
AIDS just went out and all that stuff, and my uncle got AIDS and he died of it, and then it was spreading, and I was having a conversation with Mick one night about it, that you should be careful because we're on the road, there's like girls everywhere backstage, and I said, there's this thing called AIDS, and everybody thought it was a gay disease, which turned out to be not true.
Sure.
and he says, I'll never get it, man, I'll sleep with good-looking girls. And I said, man, I don't think AIDS cares what you look like, Mick. So I thought it was a funny comment, and that inspired me to write The Kiss of Death.
So a lot of it is real life experiences that you just take from on the whim or in a conversation, like you say, and sort of craft it.
Step in the light. I remember at those lyrics, I've written them down on a piece of paper. So there was this person in my life that was just always down, you know, down and staying home and just mopey, and they just couldn't get their life together, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And I was kind of thinking about that when I wrote that 40 years ago.
Yeah. That gives it more of a personal effect, I think. You know, I mean, it's always good to be a good storyteller, but I think if you take it from a place of personal reflection or someone you know, I think that probably adds just a little bit more to the material.
Yeah. And honestly, like songs like, well, I'll Say Goodbye, I wrote that in Hamburg, Germany in 79. And I wrote that because we were getting ready to go back to America. And I was dating a girl in Hamburg, and she was hanging out in the studio with me every night, you know, and I met over there, but then I had to go back home. And I came up with the idea to say, I'll say goodbye, maybe we'll be another day. You know, I tried, but I can't stay. Little things like that inspire you.
So correct me if I'm wrong, but I thought I saw somewhere that you're working on a new Dokken album of brand new material as well. Is that correct?
Yeah, we're halfway done.
Nice. Very good. Any surprises on this one that we should be aware of, or?
I don't know. I haven't finished it.
At least in the first half, you're not sure yet, huh?
It's just been very hard to write direct. It's been very, very difficult. I mean, writing over the internet, you know?
Yeah, obviously this situation doesn't help that, and I'm sure the other guys in Dokken are spread out, right? So
they're in Connecticut, L.A., I'm in New Mexico, BJ and Chris are in Hartford. I mean, it sucks. And I'm lucky, though, because when we wrote Broken Bones, we ended up having about 7 or 8 leftover ideas.
I see.
And I had recorded all that stuff on my Pro Tools on my guitar back in the days where I could still play guitar. Unfortunately, I can't play guitar anymore. So that sucks. So I get all kinds of ideas, but I can't put the idea in tape because I can't play it.
That makes it probably more difficult to relate that to the other guys too, because you can't put that melody, that line on the guitar, probably, right?
No, it really sucks. So luckily, like I said, I recorded a lot of songs with John on Broken Bones left over. I found them, dug them up. John redid them, but it was like a double whammy. It's like, first I have surgery and my arm gets paralyzed, and the next thing I know, the COVID hits, and I'm like, Jesus Christ, So, and I was taking time off after surgery anyway. I mean, I was paralyzed.
Sure.
So they said it would come back in 6 months, but it's been 7 months now, and my hand's still frozen.
Wow.
So
I hate to hear that.
I don't know if I'll ever play guitar again. There's nothing I can do about it.
Wow. Well, I hope you get the opportunity to again, because, like I said, I'm sure it's helpful just to craft melody lines for songs and stuff as well, even if you don't play, even if you don't play live with the guitar.
Yeah, it's worked out a screwy kind of way of writing. I actually got on the internet and I'll hum the melody to John, guitar riff.
You found a way to work around it temporarily, anyway.
It's a workaround. I'll just come down, and then John will, they'll play it.
So tell me about your relationship with the original Dokken members. Still, everything's still good with Jeff. I know Mick is pretty much retired at this point. That's what's said.
Yeah, he's full blown retired. Yeah, I haven't spoken to Mick since the day he left the band.
Really? Wow.
You think after 40 years of playing together, we'd have a relationship?
So it doesn't sound like there's a good chance there's going to be any kind of reuniting of the original members again for anything.
No, not going to happen. I mean, Mick's retired, and it's not because he wanted to retire. He loves playing. He just couldn't play anymore.
Just physically?
Physically, no. He was like in the same position as Neil Peart,
Yeah, sure.
He's like, my knees are shot, my legs are shot, my hips are shot, my back's shot. He goes, look, now I've been playing since I'm 10 years old. I've been playing drums for 50 years. I'm worn out. Same as Neil Peart. I remember Buddy Rich when he had quit the Carson show because his back was just so far gone. He just couldn't sit on the drum anymore.
Well, it's such a physical instrument.
It is the hardest instrument. I got it easy. We all got it easy. Playing drums is like, I don't know how anybody could do it.
Well, especially, as you get older. I mean, it's just amazing, the toll it takes on someone's body. So.
Yeah, so he literally just quit. We had 4 shows to go on the last tour, and then he couldn't even do the last 4. He was like, I just can't do it. He went to the airport. We were flying home, and he said, I'm done. I'm selling my drums. It's over. And thank God he made money during the heyday, and he doesn't need to make money,
Yeah.
So he's done. And then you got Jeff. He's been in Foreigner forever.
Mm-hmm.
He loves Foreigner. He's a musical director. He's been in the band 20 years now, so that's his baby. And George's got, a million projects going on.
Yeah. So how's your relationship with George these days in particular? I mean, I know you guys have kind of back and forth, not gotten along over the years, but you guys have made great music together, too. So
yeah, we did.
Does it seem to be that you've patched things up between the two of you, I guess, at this point? Or?
Yes. Yeah, I think we're just too old to argue.
Well, you probably know what buttons not to push on each other at this point, too,
Correct. Look,
after all this time.
From day one when we joined the band was always a problem, because he's alpha, I'm alpha, and you get 2 alphas in a band, you got problems.
Sure. And I'd always assumed that was the issue,
It was.
Similar to Van Halen, David Lee Roth and Eddie, kind of both
There's a million bands out there with the same problem. They just don't talk about it.
Well, I'm glad to see you guys again, like I said, on stage again. The live album, you guys did the live concerts in Japan a few years back. That was fantastic.
That was our big farewell.
Yeah, it sounded awesome, too. I mean, you guys still had some, the fire in there of the original lineup. It sounds great.
Yeah,
but
and then we did that one new song, made a video of it. It's Just Another Day. I like that video. That was the last video we made original, a couple of years ago. It's Just Another Day, and there's a new video out on YouTube on this record, for the single Step Into the Light. They did it's on, I don't know if you've seen the new video or not. It's just a composite.
Yeah.
Old when I was very young.
Yeah, but it's pretty cool. It's very nostalgic.
Very.
I like the style of it. It's pretty neat. So you told me you're working on the new Dokken album that's coming up. What's your at this point in your life? What's your long-term goal for Dokken?
I have a long-term goal. Look, I could tour until I drop. Just play the hits the rest of my life. But I don't want to do that. You make new songs because you want to make music because you love it.
Sure.
As far as the days of having a radio hit and on the radio, the MTV's gone. There's no vehicle there. You get your music exposed to television. It's all hip-hop and bullshit. And so I don't really have any long-term plan. I'm just going to play until I can't play anymore.
So do what you want.
It's already going to be hard playing with one paralyzed arm.
Yeah. Yeah, sure. Well, so will you continue to do some Don Dokken solo material as well as the band itself, or are they pretty much the same these days?
No, I'm in a holding pattern because of my arm.
I see.
I can't write. Yeah. I can't write.
I see. That would make it quite difficult then.
Yep. So I'm just writing the lyrics. I'm going to sing, but I can't compose. I can't play the piano. I can't play the guitar. I'm stuck. I'm not happy about it. But what am I going to fucking do?
Yeah, I guess if you get when you get your lyrics all written and you have them ready to go, if you're still unable to play, maybe you would hire musicians, I guess, to help.
No, I have John.
Yeah, no, that's true. But he's part of Dokken, the band, right? So.
Yeah, John, John's been in the band over 20 years. So I got John on guitar, I got Chris on bass, I got BJ on drums. I got a whole band. I don't need to hire anybody.
I just didn't know if you would intermingle musicians between your solo work and Dokken as a band, as a unit.
I haven't thought about it. Right now, I'm just concentrating on going on the road, not catching COVID.
Yeah. Well, good luck with that. I certainly, wish you well going out on the road. Definitely stay safe, when you're out there because, it apparently seems to be much worse in a lot of the U.S. at this point in time.
It's surprising. I talked to Mickey D last week, and he was on tour before. He was in Australia a few months ago, and him and his wife caught it. And he said, said it was horrible.
Well, yeah, and it's just the weirdest thing you've ever heard about because some people get it supposedly and just have little cold-like sniffles, and some people have just a terrible go of it,
Well, change.
Yes, definitely. Hey, man, it is a total pleasure to get to speak with you. I can't tell you, when I was a teenager, my walls, my ceilings, everything was plastered with pictures of my favorite bands, and Dokken was my number one band. So so it was a pleasure to get to actually talk to you and ask you the questions I wanted to ask. So I appreciate that.
I appreciate the interest. Thanks, boss. Have a good day.
All right. Thanks, Todd. All right. Bye.